بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى، والصلاة والسلام على نبيه المصطفى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نكمل اليوم مسيرة منتدى عمان للرؤساء التنفيذيين لليوم الثاني للتحدث عن المحور الثاني، وذلك عن النمو خارج الحدود من السوق المحلي إلى السوق العالمي. غدا بإذن الله عز وجل سيكون المحور الثالث للحديث عن كيفية العمل على توسيع الأسواق وإعادة هيكلة المؤسسات بما يتناسب مع متطلبات السوق ومتغيراته. اليوم وفرنا أجهزة للترجمة، فتوجد أجهزة للترجمة من اللغة العربية إلى الإنجليزية والعكس. الجهاز موجود في كل طاولة، تقريبا موجود 3 إلى 5 أجهزة، وأي شخص يحس في شوشرة في الجهاز ممكن أنه يبلغنا وراح نستبدل له إياه من الخلف. الجهاز تشغيل وإغلاق الجهاز من هذا الزر، تغيير اللغة من الزر الأيمن من العربي للإنجليزي أو بالعكس من الإنجليزية للعربية، وزيادة الصوت أو خفضه من الجهة اليسرى. في حالة وجود أي شوشرة في أي جهاز الرجاء إبلاغنا وراح نبدل الجهاز إن شاء الله. الفريق والشباب اللي موجودين بالتنظيم راح يبدلوا أي جهاز. اليوم مثل ما اتفقنا أمس البرنامج راح يكون إن شاء الله لحد الساعة 1:30. بعد الساعة 1:30 راح تكون استراحة الغداء مفتوحة لحد الواحد ما يخلص ويعمل نتوركينج ويتغدى ويرتاح. طيب، الشيء الثاني اللي حبينا بس ننوه عليه أن احنا عملنا هاشتاج في تويتر اسمه منتدى عمان للرؤساء التنفيذيين، بيطلع بعد شوي في الشاشة، فحبينا تفاعلكم معه. نفس الشيء كل يوم يكون في تصوير المشاركين، تصوير الفعالية، وعرض بعض مقاطع الفيديو في حسابات الخاصة بالأكاديمية. نفس الشيء بنعرض عليكم حسابنا الخاص في انستغرام، تكرما ضيفونا وتشوف الصور، يمكن تطلع صوركم فيه إن شاء الله تكون صور احترافية، وإذا حبيتوا صور خاصة فيكم المصورين موجودين ما بيقصروا معكم إن شاء الله. طيب، فاليوم إن شاء الله راح تكون في استراحات بسيطة بين فترة والثانية، بين ربع ساعة إلى 10 دقائق حتى نصل إلى الساعة 1:30، تكون استراحة مفتوحة للغداء وللصلاة. المكتبة ما زالت موجودة على الكورنر. المصلى كان كثيرين استفسروا البارحة عن المصلى للنساء والرجال، هو نفس المصلى اللي موجود بالطابق العلوي اللي جنب القاعات الكبرى، سواء كان للرجال أو للنساء. إذا في أي استفسارات أخرى أو شيء ممكن تتواصلوا مع أي شخص موجودين معنا في الفريق سواء خارج القاعة أو داخلها. نتمنى لكم يوم سعيد ويوم مثمر وكل النجاح والتوفيق إن شاء الله. شكرا لكم. جماعة الخير، نسينا ملاحظة بسيطة. توجد ورقة على كل طاولة من الطاولات الموجودة معنا في القاعة، تكرما تكتبوا أسماءكم باللغة الإنجليزية لإصدار الشهادات وتوزيعها على بكرة إن شاء الله في ثالث يوم للورشة، ومحتاجين كامل التفاصيل تكون بطريقة واضحة. إذا في أي استفسار عن أي حاجة ممكن تتواصلوا معنا مع أي حد من الفريق. هذا هو الهاشتاج في تويتر منتدى عمان للرؤساء التنفيذيين. بخصوص حسابنا في انستغرام هو حساب Oman Academy for SMEs. Oman Academy for SMEs our Instagram، يعني بين كل كلمة والثانية في خط _ Oman _ Academy _ SMEs _ طيب، شكرا لكم.
nothing is impossible.
All right, let's go. All right. Morning, everybody. Very excited to be back. كيف حالكم? Good. Excellent. أنا سعيد بوجودي معكم. Very excited to be here again with you today. We learned a lot yesterday, but today is going to be even more exciting. So today we're going to talk about topics like leadership. We're going to talk about topics like solving challenges and reaching goals and objectives. So I'm very, very excited to be here with you today and to share some of these secret principles behind corporate success. I will also share with you today the answer to the following question before the day is over. What do exceptional CEOs and leaders like self-made billionaire entrepreneurs or world-famous CEOs, what do they have that we do not have? What is the one thing they have we do not have? And I will share this with you before the end of the day. And now, I'm very excited to get to our first topic. If I have the clicker. I need the clicker. All right, excellent. Okay, so the first topic for today is leadership. How to become a national, regional, and international market leader. Leadership, the secrets behind effective personal and professional leadership. This is a topic that's very close to my heart. I could literally talk for 3 days just about leadership. Why is leadership so important? Because leadership is the fundamental skill any CEO needs, any entrepreneur needs, any great business person needs. It's leadership. What do I mean by leadership? Most people think, when they talk about leadership, think in terms of leading others. I disagree. Leadership is first of all about leading oneself, leading yourself. It's about becoming the best you can be. It's about having 100% control over what you can control, and that is your personal performance, your leadership. In my experience in working with famous CEOs around the world and big companies, only the people who can lead themselves can lead others. So we first of all have to learn how to lead ourselves, how to become leaders, and then we can learn how to lead others. So how to lead oneself is absolutely fundamental if we want to reach our full potential. Let me start with a personal story. I grew up in Germany. I was born in Germany. I am a German national, actually. Even though I don't have the typical German accent, otherwise I would be talking a little bit like this, or Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I left that accent behind when I was 16 years old because I received a scholarship to go to a famous American boarding school where John F. Kennedy also went and many other Americans. Now, when I was 5 years old, I started to become a heavy stutterer. So I could not properly speak. And it was so bad that sometimes I would be in class at school and the teacher would ask me a question and not a word came out. It was so, I would literally sit there and the words were there, but I could not get the words out. And this lasted until I was about 16 years old. I had some other physical problems as well, all associated with the stuttering. But then, when I went to the US boarding school, suddenly things started to change. And after a year or two, I realized why. It had nothing to do, obviously, with the United States, but it had to do with one important thing. When I was at that school in the US, I had to do sports every afternoon. And that was not the case in Germany. In Germany, you had sports 2 to 3 times at your school, and the rest of the week you have to organize the sports yourself. So it is your personal responsibility to organize sports in the afternoons if you want to do sports. In the US school, sports had to be done every single day. It was part of the school. And what I realized was that I had been hyperactive, which means I had a lot of energy all my life, but in Germany, nobody realized that. And everybody told me to just calm down and relax. But that was not the ideal solution. The solution was that I had to do sports every day to get the energy out. And when I was in the United States, I realized that after a year or two, and then all the stuttering went away. All the symptoms disappeared, and now, wherever I am in the world, my assistant schedules an hour and a half of sports every day into my schedule. This morning, for instance, before I came here, I woke up at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, went to the gym, had a run on the beach, did an hour and a half of sports before I come here. Because that allows me to be at my best and perform at an optimum level. Why am I sharing this with you? Because when it comes to personal leadership, we have to understand how we perform best. And the world's greatest CEOs and business leaders always wake up every day and ask themselves the same question: how do I perform best? How do I perform best? Which means, how do I get the best results? And this question, asking yourself this question every day, means that you will work on your performance and realize what are the things that you have to do to be at your ultimate and best potential. Now, for me, it's the sports. I then integrated more extreme sports into my life. So I love to surf, I love to free dive, and I love to do things which basically get me into a very intensive physical exercise. For me, that clears my mind, it clears my energy, and I have the best ideas and I can produce the best solutions for our clients. For you, it may be something completely different, but you have to ask yourself that question again and again and again, and it will lead you to the answers that work for you. Another tool that high achievers use from all areas is checklists. What does that mean, checklists? They use checklists for anything that they do repeatedly. For example, negotiations, business meetings, going to work in the morning, preparing for a major deal or a major negotiation. Anything that they do repeatedly, they put checklists together. what do I mean by checklists? Think of a pilot in an airplane. And a pilot, even though he has flown the plane 100 times, he will still go through a checklist before he takes off. Every single point on that checklist to make sure he performs at his best and he forgets nothing that is important for the plane to take off. We have to do the same thing. You have to analyze your performance and see how can I improve, learn from your past performances, and then put a checklist together for you what it is that you need to perform best in a given situation. Let me give you an example. For example, before I go on stage today, or before I give any presentation around the world, I go through a checklist. I have things I go through the night before, I have things I go through when I write my speech, and I have things that I go through an hour before I go on stage. So I can bring my best performance and provide greatest value to you. Before I meet my clients, I go through checklists with my team. We have checklists for everything, and that allows us to perform at the highest level and reproduce successes again and again and again. Your checklists will be different for you than for anybody else. This is your personal checklist for high achievement. But you will improve and change the checklist over time again and again because you learn new things about yourself and about your performance. The best companies in the world do the same. They have routines and checklists for things that they want to accomplish and improve those checklists again and again and again. Now, I was talking before about my personal energy and what I need to perform. Let me just give you an example of the sports so you see what I'm talking about. Can we play the kite surfing just quickly for 1 minute, the video, please? Thank you. Hopefully that works. So that's me kite surfing in the Dominican Republic. And if you kite surf, there is no mistake you can make. All your mind has to be focused on this one thing. Otherwise, you fall or things happen or you hurt yourself and so on and so on. Okay, we can tune out of this clip. Go to the next one, the freediving, please. Now, for me, hold on 1 second before you play it. For me, I need these extreme physical activities to make sure I'm calm and at my best. Now, again, for you, it might be something completely different, but you have to analyze yourself. I know great CEOs, give you one example. One of our clients is one of the biggest real estate companies in Asia. And the CEO, every evening after dinner, sits there at the dinner table just for an hour. And after everybody's gone, the family's gone, everything, and just sits there in silence and just lets idea come and go and just sits there calmly. So she has this quiet hour for herself once in the day. I know other CEOs who play golf. Other CEOs go jogging. Other CEOs I work with, they meditate in the morning. They get up in the morning and for 20 minutes they close their eyes and they just meditate. Anything you do, whatever works for you, is fine. But you have to find out what it is that works for you. That's absolutely essential. And you can use others as an example, but you're never like anybody else. You are unique, and what works for you will not work for anybody else. So use others for inspiration, but put together your own system. Let me show you the next clip. The next clip is another activity that I do. It's about freediving. Show that real quick, please. Now, free diving is something where you go into the water, but you have no oxygen tanks, which means you need to keep your breath when you go down. Now, obviously, you need your full attention because you don't have any air. So your whole body needs to be relaxed, and you have to go through your whole body, relax it all the time, so you can remain underwater without breathing. Can we show that clip, please? The free diving clip. Thank you. Ola. No, this is the sound, the clip. Oh yeah, okay. That's me in the Philippines, free diving. The person who is with me is talking through me through signals. I obviously have no air, so you have to train yourself to stay underwater without any air. Here you can actually see there will be a point when I'm gliding downwards because my body is becoming heavier than the water. So without doing anything, I just glide down. This is about at 25 meters, roughly, more or less. And I'm enjoying myself, I'm looking at the fish, I'm relaxing. But obviously you got no air. So you have to be super focused on what you're doing to make sure that you're calm and you're preserving your air. And now I go back up. This is about a 2-minute dive. And that's it. We can cut it. Thank you. So why am I showing you this? Because it's important that you find out what works for you. It doesn't matter what it is. But you have to ask yourself, how do I perform best? The next point is even more important, and this is about your strengths and your weaknesses. And this is something that is a principle, a secret, that is not taught to us at school or at university. And this is that you can only reach your goals and personal objectives if you play to your strengths. What does that mean? When we are at school or university, we're taught to focus on our weaknesses. People tell us, you did this wrong, and you did that wrong, and you have to work on this one, and you have to work on that one. One thing surprised me the most when I started to work with famous CEOs, self-made billionaire entrepreneurs, world-famous artists, or other high achievers. All of them had only 2 or 3 main strengths. Everybody else was weaknesses. Everything else was weakness. So how did they get to that level with just 2 to 3 strengths? Because they focused exclusively on their strengths. Now you may ask, but what about my weaknesses? Of course they are important, but, and here's the secret, I do not want you to work on your weaknesses. I do not want you to work on your weaknesses, and I will explain to you why. Number 1, if you work on your weaknesses, the best thing will happen is you will become average. But you will never become exceptional. If you focus your energies on your strengths, you can take them from good to great to world class. And that is the secret to success. And all those high achievers and world famous CEOs and business owners who founded great companies, they know about their strengths and they focus on these strengths exclusively. And they focus on making these strengths even more brilliant so they can shine and they can be world-class performers. Now, of course, you may ask, what about the weaknesses? Of course, they're important, but let me tell you the secret, what these people do with their weaknesses. They have to know what their weaknesses are, correct. You have to know what are my weaknesses and what are my strengths. But then you have to get others to support you in the areas where you are weak. Let me give you a personal example of this. My biggest weakness is scheduling, means actual calendar daily scheduling. I'm excellent at planning, but I'm not good in scheduling a 24-hour day. Because I want to do so much, I would literally put 48 hours into a 24-hour day, right? So I could be doing 100 time management courses the next 10 years, and at best, I would be very average in that. So that's not a solution. The solution is that I have people in my team who are very good at scheduling and who are very good in the areas where I am weak. And they take full care of that. I don't even have to think about it. It's with them. And they take care of it. So I can focus on my strengths. If I had to do my own scheduling, I would probably still not be here this morning to talk to you. So the solution is that you have to clearly know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. But then you have to build a support system for your weaknesses so they do not matter on the way to your personal goals. A support system. This can be other people in your company, this can be colleagues, this can be people working for you, this can be whoever, this can be part of your family for some of your weaknesses. It doesn't matter. But all the high achievers in the world and all the exceptional business leaders do not work on their weaknesses. They work on their strengths. And they have support systems to take care of their weaknesses. And this is something we're not taught at school. Actually, no country I've ever been to that is taught at school. And it's the biggest #1 secret when it comes to personal performance and leadership of the high achievers. So, I would ask you to think about, take a few minutes this week to think about, okay, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? And then how can I create a support system for my weaknesses so they do not matter? That is your next step. Let me share another secret of leadership with you. You have to ask yourself, am I a reader or a listener? What does that mean? Research clearly shows that people fall in one of those two categories. They're either readers or they're listeners. What does that mean? It means that you process information better by reading it or by listening to it. Now, of course, we can all read and listen, but that's not my point. My question is not, can you read and can you listen? The question is, if you had to choose between one of the two, which one works better for you? Usually, there is no one on this planet who is equally a reader and a listener. We always fall either in one or the other category. Why is that so important for leadership? Well, it's fundamentally important for leadership because it means how should others bring information to you? If you are a reader, they should send reports or emails. If you are a listener, they should give you the information verbally in a meeting or over the phone. There actually have been cases of American presidents who did not know that they were readers or listeners. And they missed their whole presidency and their performance because they didn't know that. And there are many examples around the world where people who did not clearly know if they were readers or listeners could never rise to their full performance. What does this mean if you work in a team? If you work in a team, it means that you have to let others know how they should present information to you. So you remember that information and understand it best. Let me give an example. I am a listener. I'm also a fast reader, which means I can read fast, but I still prefer to listen to remember information. And this means that books, for example, I listen to audiobooks much more than I read books. I listen to the books so I can retain the information better. This is fundamental because it means how do you cooperate with others? Because in a business, in a company, in an organization, we exchange information every day. But there is so much misunderstanding. Even some of the best organizations we've worked with, there is so much misunderstanding when it comes to information. Why? Because people do not know if they're readers or listeners. And so they do not work with each other knowing if they're readers or listeners. This is fundamental for your performance. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, how do I perform best? Do I best work under pressure with tight deadlines or with longer deadlines? This is also different from person to person. So if you need to reach a goal and an objective, do you work better with shorter deadlines, tighter pressure, under pressure, or with longer deadlines? So it's more stretched out and you have goals in between to get you to your major goal. This is also different from person to person. And please, there is no right or wrong. One is not better than the other. The question is always the question I posed in the beginning. How do you perform best? And that is a unique answer for each and every one of you. And this is something you have 100% control of, your performance. It doesn't matter what the economy is doing. It doesn't matter whether you are in a crisis. It doesn't matter how your company is doing. You have 100% control over your performance. The next question you need to ask yourself is, what is your goal? Where do you want to be in 5 years from now? Now, this goes for your company and your organization, but also for yourself. A lot of business leaders make the mistake, they put goals for their company down, but not for themselves. I would ask you to do the following. When you get home tonight or on the weekend, I want you to sit down and take 20 minutes and write down what your ideal life would look like in 5 years from now if nothing was impossible. But I want you to not only look at your professional life, I also want you to look at your personal life. How much free time will you have? What will you do? Will you regularly have time for friends and family? You also look at your professional life. What will your business life be like? What will your professional success be like? But look at 360 degrees. Look at everything in your life. Leave nothing out. And this is another secret of the high achievers of this world. They leave nothing out. They always look at the big picture. And they have a clear vision in writing of where they want to be in the next 5 years. It is absolutely important you write this down. Just thinking about it is not enough. They did a study with the Harvard Business School in the United States, and they analyzed how many of the graduates from Harvard Business School which are among some of the most intelligent people in the United States, how many of them wrote their goals down? 5% wrote their goals down. And then they checked where these people were 5 or 10 years afterwards. The 5% who wrote their goals down were doing better than all the 95 other percent. The 5% were outperforming all the 95 other percent. What does this mean for you? You have to put your ideal vision of your life on paper. After doing this, I then want you to review this either every morning after you get up or every night before you go to bed, depending on what's best for you. This is your sacred 5 minutes where you review your ideal vision and where you want to go. There is no need to share this with anyone. This is just for you. And if you are a listener more than a reader, like myself, I just record this on my smartphone and I play this back to me either in the morning or in the evening before I go to bed. If you do this every day, after some time, you will see that your life actually starts to change and go into that direction. But it is very important you include personal, professional, and any other area that is important to you in that ideal vision of your life. So we talked about strengths and weaknesses, performance. We talked about readers and listeners. We talked about short and long deadlines. We talked about your goals. Now I want to talk about something else which is also absolutely fundamental to understand. Yesterday, some of you were asking about crisis. What do we do in crisis? And I already answered to you yesterday, some of the biggest companies in the world were founded during times of crisis. So crisis always has great potential. Great potential. For you, because if you are in a crisis, if the economy is in a crisis, and everybody is thinking crisis, if you think opportunity, you will see opportunities no one else is seeing. Think back to day one when we discussed innovation. The biggest innovators see opportunities where others see no opportunities. And we also had examples like Airbnb, for instance. The founders of Airbnb saw an opportunity that was there for anybody else to take. Namely that anybody can be a hotel. Anybody could have started that company. There is nothing new that they invented. The only thing they did is they saw an opportunity. I guarantee you that if we meet again in 5 years, you will have seen things on the market in 5 years, products, services, and ideas. And you will say, my God, that was so clear, why did I not think of that? Because someone else saw an opportunity we were not seeing. It happens all the time. What does this mean what does it mean for your leadership? It means that you need to be balanced. What do I mean by balanced? I mean that when you are balanced, which means your personal life is balanced, you can see opportunity even in times of crisis. What do I mean by balance? All the famous CEOs I know, all the self-made billionaire entrepreneurs and famous business leaders I have worked with know exactly what they need to perform best and how to keep their balance. Let me explain to you what I mean by balance. I told you before that I have to do a lot of sports every day to perform at my best. One of the sports that I do is Kung Fu. I'm actually a black belt in Korean Kung Fu. Now, any one of you has done martial arts, any martial arts before? Anyone? Martial arts? Here we go. Excellent. Very good. Now, in martial arts, some of the martial arts, there is something what we call the horse stance. The horse stance. What does this mean? It means that instead of standing like this, you go into a deeper position as if you are riding a horse. Why is that important? This position is a position that is a lot more balanced. What does this mean? If somebody comes to me and tries to attack me, for instance, tries to kick me, it's much easier for the other person to kick me when I'm like this and I fall, as if when I'm like this, because I'm a lot more balanced. So now, if somebody comes and tries to, for instance, kick me in a fight, I am much more balanced. I do not lose my balance this easily. There are Kung Fu masters in Asia who can be attacked by 5 people when they are in this stance, and they will not fall. What does this mean for you? It means that if you define what you need for your personal balance, challenges will not throw you off easily. You will have your best ideas if you keep your balance. And you will see opportunities even in times of crisis that others are not seeing. So, another secret of high-performance leaders in the business world is they know what they need for their balance. Let me give you some practical examples. This balance is very unique for you. What works for you may not work for anybody else. So you have to think about, what is it that I need for my personal balance? And the answer can be really any answer. I already told you that I need an hour and a half of sports. That's my most important balance factor. Something else I need, I usually like to go to bed early and get up early. So in an ideal world, I'm in bed by 10:30, and I wake up about 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, some people may think, oh my God, 4 a.m., that doesn't work for me. And that's fine. But for me, it's best if I go to bed early and I wake up early, because it works best for me. It keeps me balanced. Now, what I have done with my office, we have what we call a balance checklist. And in this checklist, we have defined all the elements that I need for my minimum balance, so I can perform best with you today, with our clients around the world, even if I have to fly back and forth. And there was one week actually, this year I did 6 countries in 7 days. Now that's a challenge for balance. How do you keep your balance? So if I did not have my balance checklist, I would be very bad performer when I get to my clients. So this is why it's so important that you define what your balance is, so you can be here and not here. This will have fundamental effects on your performance, and this will allow you to reach your objectives and perform at your best. And only if you become your best, you can lead others with inspiration, with passion, with enthusiasm, and with power. And then people will trust you more, that you lead them to wherever you have to go. If you apply these very practical tools, soon you will see there is an improvement not only in your life, but also in your personal performance. And this is something that will never end, because even the best performers in the world constantly want to improve. But if you apply these principles of the high achievers, you will be able to lead and become a much better leader for others. So you can take yourself and your organization to a level where you're going from good to great to extraordinary to accomplish the impossible. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, obviously now, I want you to think about some of the things that we discussed. And I want you to apply some, not all, because we don't have time to go through all the tools that I shared, that you can do later this week or on the weekend. But some of them I want you to apply now. The first one is about strengths. I cannot emphasize this enough, how important it is to focus on your strengths and not on your weaknesses, and to have a support system for your weakness. Let me give you another example. I shared with you that my biggest weakness is scheduling. So, because I know this, I have created a whole support system around this. For example, when I fly from Europe to the Middle East to Asia, I have different people working in different time zones who can support me for my scheduling. So, if someone here goes to bed, someone else wakes up and can continue with my scheduling support if I'm in another country. Because for me, I need to make sure that support system works. And this is why I want you to think about your strengths and your support system. Very specifically, I want you to think about the following. List 3 of your greatest personal strengths as a leader. List 3 of your greatest personal strengths as a leader. Then, I want you to list 1 of your personal weaknesses. Now, for some of you, this may be easy. For others, it may be a bit difficult to share a weakness. That's normal, because we have been brought up and conditioned to feel bad about our weaknesses. It's just the way that we're educated, and that's fine. But you need to get over that. Only if you truly look at your strengths and your weaknesses, you can perform best and reach your goals. I want you to reach your goals. And for this, it's important you clearly see your strengths and your weaknesses. So I want you to list 1 of your personal weaknesses and then design a support system. Think about a support system for that personal weakness so it does not impact your leadership performance. So you list 3 strengths, 1 weakness, only 1, and then you think about what can be a support system for that weakness so it does not keep me from reaching my goals. And this support system, I want you to discuss within the group. Discuss within the group. Then, the next point is about your personal balance. I already told you that this is so important, and every business leader I know who has created outstanding success has mastered this. So, I want you to analyze and list the core elements of your personal balance. This can be just a few points. I told you, for instance, for me, I have to get up, go to bed early, get up early. I have to get my sports in every day, and so on and so on. Discuss within the group how to best integrate these elements into your schedule. Because we know one problem we all have is time. We all think we do not have enough time. So we know what's good for us, but sometimes we struggle integrating this into the schedule. So I want you to think about the core elements of your personal balance. What do you need to perform best? What do you need to perform best? And then discuss within the group how to best integrate these elements into your schedule. I will come to some of the tables and discuss with you, and then you have about 30 to 45 minutes, more or less, 30 to 45. And then I will again choose 5 people to come on stage with me and present your findings. Any questions about those 2 assignments? Anybody have any question? Good? Excellent. So about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm already looking forward to your answers and the great discussions within the groups. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Shukran. Okay, good. Yeah, straight to green. Can you switch off the switch? Excellent. Very good to see everybody back. Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Good. Everybody? So, I heard from a lot of you in the break that you were very grateful that we talked about strengths and weaknesses. And one of you asked me if I could give a few ideas about how to find one's strengths. This is not always easy. And why is that not always easy? Because we usually are not used to thinking in terms of strengths and weaknesses. We do not think about it enough. So let me give you some advice. Number one, it is also very good to ask others, especially people who know us well. Now, this can sometimes be a little bit uncomfortable. Why is this? It is because we are not used to hearing the truth about our strengths and our weaknesses. So it is normal that it sometimes makes us uncomfortable. Why? Because we think we're very good at something, but we're maybe not so good at that. Or we think something may be our weakness, but it's not. So today should just be the start for you to think about these things, but not the end. You should make this a constant practice to also ask others for feedback. Now, I will warn you, it will be uncomfortable sometimes because we do not like to hear from others what our weaknesses are. But let me ask you a question. If you go to the doctor, do you want the doctor to lie to you if you have a disease and tell you it's all fine? Or do you go to the doctor so the doctor gives you an honest opinion? Well, of course, you want the honest opinion. Why? Because only then you can cure yourself. The same thing with the strengths and the weaknesses. Only if you clearly know your strengths and your weaknesses, you can perform and reach your goals. This will be uncomfortable, correct, but it is the only way to realize your objectives on a personal level and on a professional level. Let me give you another example of someone I highly respect and had the pleasure of working with. Sir Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin. He is remarkable because he built Virgin up from nothing into a multi-billion-dollar privately owned enterprise that is active around the world. Richard Branson is dyslexic. That means he has difficulty to properly, how could I explain that? Things need to be explained to him ideally in a straightforward and short manner. Now, Richard, however, is extremely clever, and he knew from the beginning that strengths are strengths, and weaknesses, you have to have a support system. What this meant was that he actually used what others would call a weakness, namely his dyslexia, so that the Virgin marketing would always be simple and straight to the point. No blah blah, as we say. No difficult words. No, but words that go right to the heart of the consumers. So he used that at his strength. But now let's talk about his businesses. Richard knows he is not good at leading a business. Let me repeat this. A billionaire owner of one of the largest privately held companies knows he's not good at leading the business. What does he do? When he starts a new business, he goes in there for a few months and then leaves the day-to-day operations to a CEO or director he puts in charge. Richard is there for having the vision of the brand, Virgin, of being the public figure and of having the big picture of coordinating all the different businesses under Virgin. But he's not good at actually running the day-to-day operations of a business. Let us think for a moment. If Richard Branson did not know that about himself, if Richard Branson did not know that it's not his strength to run a business, we would probably never have heard of Virgin, because he would still be stuck in his very first business, trying to get this to a global level. So his example shows us how important it is to clearly know what our strengths and our weaknesses are. And let me share with you another secret. One of the reasons why people feel bad about their weaknesses is because they think the weaknesses keep them from reaching their goals. It's not true. Not knowing your strengths and not knowing your weaknesses keeps you from reaching your goals. If you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, you can get the right people around you in your teams, in your business, who support you in the areas where you are weak. And you can reach any goal you put your mind to. But if you're not open about yourself and you're not clearly knowing what your strengths and your weaknesses are, you will struggle and you will fail and you will be far below your leadership potential. That is why this is so important. Now, after this short introduction and summary, I would now like to ask 5 guests to join me on stage. Now, we obviously do not want to take the same ones that we took last time. So let me make the rounds and see. Excellent. Would you like to? Sure? Excellent. Let's give a round of applause for our first guest. Excellent. I would like to see some ladies on stage as well. Who? Sorry? You? Yeah? Okay, excellent. We have another guest. Excellent. Very good. Let's give a round of applause. Can we have some of the ladies join us on stage? Anyone? Ladies? Volunteers? Yes, please. Okay. You were there though on day one. Yeah. You were there on day one. If no one else, obviously, you know, but then I'd be happy to have you. So please, absolutely. Come. Yes, please. Okay. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Okay. Who else can we take? Anybody from this table would care to join? Oh, we had 2 from you. We had 2 from your table. No. From this table, we haven't seen anyone yesterday. Anyone from this table care to join? Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, let's look here. Who do we have? This table we got already. Please join the others on stage. This table. Anyone from the ladies? Yeah? Excellent. Very good. Excellent. Alrighty. I think we need one more. One more. Yeah? Huh? Who would like to join us? Yes? Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Very good. Fantastic. Please join us right next to me. Thank you. Excellent. Very good. I would ask you to start. And because we obviously... thank you. I think she has... Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. So, please give us your brief answer to the first question.
Good morning. My name is Maimouna. I think I have 3 strengths. The first one is that I'm good, emotional, intelligent person. Mm-hmm. The second point, it's I'm a hyper and self-motivated.
Sorry, say again. You're
hyper and self-motivated.
Hyper self-motivated. That's a good way to express it.
And the third point is I'm a self-learner and independent. These are the 3 points.
Self-learner
Independent.
and? Independent.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
And one personal weakness, I would summarize it in one word. It's numbers.
Numbers.
For example, statistics and finance.
Financial.
Yeah.
Good.
I think the support system, I need someone who has the number skills,
Yes.
like to manage my works. And I think it's just 1 point, right? Weakness?
You can name another one if you
I
want.
prefer one.
Please, please.
Okay.
Okay. Let me actually give you an example about this. A fun fact for all of you. If you ever feel bad about your weaknesses, Einstein. Now, I think it doesn't matter which country we come from. We all agree Einstein was probably one of the greatest minds of the last century. Einstein was not good at mathematical calculations. Hold on for a second. His wife did all the mathematical calculations. His wife did all the mathematical calculations. So, even an Einstein had to know what his strengths and his weaknesses are and had to delegate. So, what's good for Einstein is good for us, right?
That's right.
Excellent. Very good.
When I rise to Einstein's level, I will tell my.
Excellent.
What do you need to perform best? I have some points.
Yes.
The first one is sleeping enough, at least 6 hours a day.
Good.
The second thing, I have my gratitude book. I love to write things. It makes me feel
Gratitude
motivated.
book.
Yeah.
That is very good. Yeah.
The third point is walking in nature. It makes
Working
me
in
feel
nature. Good.
Peaceful. And nourish my soul with prayers and meditation.
Very good.
Also giving without any fees. I mean, giving like
giving
physically or emotionally.
to others.
Yeah.
Good.
And be fully awake.
Fully
in the
awake.
present. I do some practices to be focused.
Okay.
So this is a good point in my life.
Excellent. I think the gratitude journal is also excellent. And you can do the same thing with a business. You can have an opportunity journal, which always keeps you focused on opportunities in any given situation. Now, we discussed yesterday that especially in innovation, the biggest innovators in the world, or the companies that always come up with the new best ideas, they're obsessively focused on opportunities. They're obsessed with opportunities. And so I want you to obsess with opportunities. There is one sentence which was coined by a famous business management guru of the last century called Peter Drucker. And it's something that we also teach to all of our clients. Starve the problems and feed the opportunities. Starve the problems and feed the opportunities. Now, a lot of management meetings, the first thing you hear is all the problems. No, we should always address opportunities first. Opportunities first. Feed the opportunities and starve the problems. Thank you very much for your contribution. Excellent. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Betul Abdouani. My 3 strengths is summarized in one, I'm a very risk taker. It's like love adventures.
Risk taker.
Yes, taker, yes. And the second one is a good communicator, where I believe the communication is a 2 sides, always two ways of communication.
True.
The third one is like accountability. Once I'm a high risk taker, so I'll be accountable in taking all the...
When you say accountability, what do you mean by that?
It's like I'll take the whole responsibility of
for the outcome.
For the outcomes.
That's good.
When there's the good decision, at that time, it was the best thing I have taken into consideration. My weakness is like I can't manage my personal expenses and pockets money.
Okay, well, that's good. That's fair enough.
It's very weird, but it's like I've been facing this problem. I like to enjoy the life.
Yes.
And
we all have to enjoy the life.
Yes. I've delegated this task to my husband, actually.
Very
so
good.
he's taking care of
Without knowing your husband, I think that is a very wise decision.
Yes, yes. It's for a fun. It's happened in one incident that I've literally learned about it. Is like one time he handed over to me a check of 5,000 to get the school fees, and I've just rested on it 2 days, and I thought, okay, I have to do something like this, and I'll go and manage it. Then, after 3 days, he came to me. Where is the check? Why did you deposit? I thought, I have this plan and this plan. Can we postpone this? So it was like, crashed. No, you don't have to do it. I'll take a responsibility. He withdrawn the check, and he promised himself, he will never give it to me back. So from that incident, I thought it's better to hand over to him.
That's very good.
The expenses.
Excellent.
This is my weaknesses. The thing which I'm working on it to overcome this, there is a financial advisor. I've approached her basically. She advised me with the techniques that I have to open 3-4 boxes and put for one box.
So she would be your support system?
Yes, support system. And her advice it's really workable that I have to open like 3 boxes or 3 accounts where I deposit on daily basis for my pleasure and on daily basis for my personal development for the courses. And it's like for the necessity expense. I don't have to mix it up.
Very good.
So this was the solution for that.
Excellent. And I think your husband will be happy with that.
He's very happy. He's very happy.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share my personal.
That's actually, it's great. And this is what I'm saying. It's actually fantastic what we're doing here, that we're sharing the weaknesses. Because as I said, every culture I've been to, people are just educated to feel ashamed of weaknesses. And there is no need. There's no reason for that. So I think it's excellent. And as I said before, all the high achievers, whether it be a Branson or many others, they very clearly know their strengths and their weaknesses. And the number one reason why we feel ashamed is because we feel we cannot reach our goals because of our weaknesses. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. So if you take just one thing away from this morning, it is that your weaknesses do not stand in the way of your goals, only if you don't face the weaknesses and you do not have a support system. Okay, excellent. Your personal balance, just maybe 2-3 words about.
The personal balance is like moreover into social balance. I'm looking where I have kept in mind in 2020 that I've allocated time, a quality time for a family. Once a week for a scheduled gathering. It was not there early in my schedule. It's like I have to design 2 to 3 travels in a week, in a year, which is, it's like I regularize my intention, my discovery things. And one adventure in a year.
One adventure.
In a year.
Okay. Nice. Yes. Excellent. Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing.
Saeed Al-Harithi, I'm ex-MOD, and I think I managed to shorten the strengths, but it wasn't easy at all, as for everyone else. But I think I'm a good listener, and I like taking notes for everything, even when I plan for a picnic, for everything. I like to take notes. I like to write whatever I want to do, and think about the things that I've done later on, and summarize the benefits and how I want to change doing things. I think another thing that I'm good at is planning and executing things, and I think that has to do with my background at work. I'm a finance person and a soldier as well. Another thing is problem solving. I think I'm good at leading others to do things, and I'm more of thinking about solutions more than looking for problems. So that is very important, I think, in leadership.
Excellent. Very good. Excellent.
My weakness, well, taking work home. Many people regard that as a weakness, but I found it very important in order to focus on certain issues that you cannot actually complete or do them well. And I'm a night person. I love working at night. I love reading at night. I love listening to music. Sometimes I watch movies. I spend time with my family. So when I do work at home, it takes me off from doing things I rather do. But sometimes it is important to do something perfectly. So I take it home to make sure that I do. But some people regard that as a weakness, and that took me away from my family maybe, and being able to do other things.
Do you personally regard it as a weakness, or do you actually think it's more of a strength because it helps you sometimes solve problems?
Personally, I take it as a strength, being able to do better at night or at home, knowing that. But it is a weakness because it takes you off from the time you're supposed to do other things.
Oh, spent with family.
With
first.
family,
Okay.
yes. In that regard only, because in general, people think that if you take work at home, you have a problem in time management or delegation or whatever else. But I think I had to do that, and I've always been doing that.
So then you would only need a support system to make sure you still have enough time with family, for instance.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Now, when you come to the next point,
Yes. The balance.
the balance is trying my best spend time with my family, my kids. I have 5 daughters, alhamdulillah. We like going out, we like walking by the beach, we like going to the mountains, the deserts, traveling abroad. I try my best to spend time with my family and my brothers and sisters and everything.
So you schedule that. So you look at it, you plan it.
I plan it.
Plan it. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And we do it together, actually.
Good.
Excellent. Next weekend we're going to the Wahiba Sands, actually. This weekend, coming
Excellent.
weekend.
Very good. Very good.
Anybody want to join?
And just one. It's also just one moment. It's very good what you're saying, namely also making sure it actually happens. Balance is the thing that usually goes out of the window whenever we have a crisis situation, or there is a lot of work, or there's something unexpected. The first thing we usually drop is the balance. Right? It's just a human thing. We think, oh, I have no time for that. However, as I explained before, balance allows you to be here and not here, and you can think much more clearly if you have your minimum balance in place. Now, I've seen some people come to me and say, yeah, well, for my balance, I need like 12 hours of sleep, and then I need 3 hours on the beach, and then I want to be with my family for 8 hours. Well, that's ideal balance, right? That usually never happens. It never happens. But some people use it as an excuse to then say, I have no time for balance at all. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what do you need as a minimum to perform at your best. We can always do more of what's good for us, but the question is here, what do you need as a minimum? And then you have to be ruthless about scheduling that into your schedule. And trust me, I know how hard that can be. If I fly around the world and I've just landed somewhere in Asia and I've had 3 hours of sleep because I have a client meeting coming up, but I have to get up early so I still get my sports in. Well, then that's the thing I have to do. It's not ideal, but it's the minimum that I schedule to make sure I can deliver the best results for our clients. So it's always a dance, it's a balancing act, but that's why it's so important to know what is your minimum, so you can schedule that minimum no matter what, if there is a crisis or not. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Very good.
So I love reading also, and watching documentaries. That comes together. Swimming is my favorite. I love swimming.
Swimming, fantastic.
At least twice a week. And that's all.
Excellent, fantastic. Very good, very good. Thank you for sharing so much, and also sharing your weakness and your support system. Very, very good. For me, swimming, contact with the ocean is obviously also so important. That's why I wear all the shell jewelry. Some of you have been asking. So that's from Fiji, that's from Maui, and that's from Bali. So for me, I take the ocean with me wherever I go. I was actually swimming in the Omani waters the past days, but then somebody told me that there are sea snakes. So I don't know if that's a myth or there actually are sea snakes. But if they're not, then I will happily continue to swim in the Omani waters.
They're friendly.
They're friendly. Okay, very good. If they're friendly, I'm fine. Very good. Excellent. Please. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, excellent. Thank you. So maybe first introduce yourself briefly.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. Hussein Zubaydi from PAM, Public Authority for Mining. We'll talk first of all about the strength.
Strengths, yes.
Yes. I think I'm good in for communication.
Good for communication.
Yes.
Excellent.
Communication, I think, is very important.
Excellent.
Good communication with the family.
With the family.
And with the friend and with the colleague in the
And with the
office.
colleagues.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
So personal and professional.
Personal. Yes.
Very good.
Second is the medical checkup. We do that medical checkup every 6 months. So I think this is also good things.
Good.
That's
Okay. So you keep a strict. You
yes,
keep your health in.
Keep health.
Yes.
Keep checking every 6 months, every year. I think this is good things. And for the weakness, if we talk about the weakness, the problem is late sleep.
Late sleep.
Yes.
Okay.
This is, I think, my boss is every day he's blaming me for late, coming late in the office, and he's laughing there. I think this is a big problem now I'm facing.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
That's the weakness. So the question would be, what could be a support system that maybe your boss could give you a call very early in the morning
Maybe, yes.
to wake you up?
Or maybe my wife, she controls
Exactly.
that sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Balancing is planning and schedule for traveling outside the country.
So for you, it's important to travel
Yes,
for your
important
balance.
is, is I think
Opening
that
your mind.
opening
and
your
just
mind.
going,
Yes, the stress. If you have stress, and it's good,
Good.
for
And
release that.
you plan this regularly.
Yes,
You schedule.
Yes, schedule
Okay.
every year for that one.
Good.
Take the family or yourself outside.
Very good.
The country. And sometime I'm good for a football player.
Okay. Good. Excellent. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. Excellent. Oh, you can give it to
Good morning, everybody.
maybe take this one. I think this is better. Maybe this is not on. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be clear in point. I have clear vision, and also I have ability to see full picture to identify the opportunity.
So ability, if I may just summarize, ability to see the big picture,
Yeah.
right? That's your strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second is strong followers to achieving goals and objectives.
Strong
Strong followers to
Okay.
achieving.
So you push through with goals.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The third is I have analyzing skills to take decision.
Analyzing skills
Skills to take decision.
to take decisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
The weaknesses.
So would you say you're a fast decision maker?
Not fast, but I can analyze numbers to take a right decision.
So you're very methodical. You're very organized in decision making.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The weaknesses is I have weaknesses in implementation the vision. Always
In implementation of the
the
vision.
vision. Yeah.
Okay.
Always I need support from my team to implement the
Good.
vision.
Good.
The balancing is I'm scheduling to do sport every day, half an hour every day.
Sport every day.
Yeah.
Very good. I can understand that
this
well.
is enough.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Very good. And I just have one point here to say. He's saying that he's good at vision, at developing a vision and then going for that vision. But you say you're not good at implementing it, right? Now, a lot of people here, they stop. A lot of people then, they have a vision, but they're so frustrated because they cannot get, as we say, the feet on the ground. They cannot implement the vision. It doesn't matter. There will be other people who are not visionaries, who are not good at having vision or having clear vision of the future or of goals and objectives who love to help you implement your vision on a daily basis, because we're all different. And things that are difficult for you, other people love to do. You just have to team up with the right people, and then it's fine. So you should never let any weakness ever stop you from reaching your objectives. Okay? Thank you. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Abdullah Lawati. Actually, the points I have here is not for me, myself. It's
Okay.
for our table.
Okay.
So the main strength were coaching and have the passion to share the knowledge.
Coaching and passion to share the knowledge.
Yes.
Okay.
Working under pressure and quick learner. Now, there was a point that I myself thought it was a strength, but discussing with the group, I figured out that it's a weakness rather than a strength.
What was that point?
That was loyalty.
Loyalty.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, generally speaking, loyalty would be a strength. But
How do you define loyalty?
Okay. That's my point, so I can explain it. When I talk about myself, I find myself over loyal to friends, family, and even work.
Okay.
So I was explaining to them, I'm currently working at a company, and I got a much better job opportunity that I rejected because I didn't want to, from what I understood from the company, that they don't have anyone to take my place
Okay.
in the current situation.
Understood.
Yeah. Now for the support system.
Just one
yeah,
second.
Sure.
So, how many of you in the audience think loyalty is a strength in general? How many of you think it can be a weakness as well? Okay, good. So I think, depending on the situation, it can be both. If I'm staying at a company where I feel miserable, it's not great, right? In general, however, loyalty is an excellent skill. So for instance, when we hire people for our teams, we look for loyalty, right? Loyalty is important. We don't want people who kind of go left and right, right? It's important. It's important to be loyal to your clients. It's important to be loyal to your friends, your family, your job, your organization. Only if the loyalty, you take it too far, then it's a weakness.
Exactly.
Right? So, excellent. Very good. Let's hear your support system. Thank you.
Okay, now for the support system, I did a quick thinking after we had the discussion, and I found that maybe sharing the decision with someone before taking the decision would help me.
Very good. Because you need to get an outside perspective.
Exactly.
Right? Because you're looking through the glasses of pure loyalty. Now, that's rare to find, right? So maybe we should give you a round of applause for that high degree of loyalty. That's excellent. So, but you're right. It can also be to your damage. So it's good you share this, decisions you have to make, special situations, with people you trust, and then get their opinion. And if they tell you, you know what, I think you should leave in this situation or you should do that, you have to understand they probably see things better than you.
That's right.
Because you have the pure loyalty glasses on. So if you do that, perfect support system. Very good.
Now the personal balance is almost the same as the other great guys here, but there was one point that I would like to share is giving back to the community.
Good.
That helps a lot.
Good. Excellent. Actually, giving back, I started the World Peace Foundation 10 years ago, and we work a lot with children in some of the poorest places in the world. So we work in some of the biggest slums around the planet. And as I explained yesterday, my commercial businesses provide 100% of the funding for my philanthropic businesses, my foundation. And what I sometimes do, I go into the slums and I visit the children with the people working for us. I distribute food. I'm there sitting in the classroom, things like this. And to be honest, these are some of the happiest days of my entire life. So I think giving back is something that's very often overlooked, but it's something that's so easy because it makes you instantly happy. And so thank you for that contribution. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. Our esteemed guests, thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. Another great round of applause for our guests. Thank you very much. And I believe following the MC, we take a very quick break after this. I think I have to check, 15-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute snack break. Is that correct? 10-minute snack break, and we reconvene. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
جماعة الخير لو سمحتوا بس وزعنا استمارات على كل الطاولات عبارة عن كويشنير ورقة صغيرة جدا. نريدكم تكرما بس تملوا الكويشنير وتحطوه على الطاولة. بعد البريك إن شاء الله راح يمر الفريق ويجمع كامل الكويشنيرز. شكرا لكم.
Hello, everybody. Good to have you back. So, a few things, everybody. We will also have a question and answer possibility for a Q&A after my next keynote. And there you will have a chance to additionally ask if you have any questions about what we discussed this morning and what I will discuss now. Before that, I would like to make a quick announcement because there is so many things that we want to teach you in terms of skills. And we put together a program together with the Oman Academy for SMEs that will be a program over 3 forums. So there will be 2 more forums like this one in September and one in December. Anyone attending all these 3 forums will get all the skills and the know-how and the knowledge needed to survive in difficult times, manage crisis, increase profitability, boost profits, and additionally become a national, regional, or even international market leader. And this will be on those 2 additional forums, one in September and one in December. Everyone who attends all of these 3 forums will also get a master certification of Tom Oliver Group Master Certificate in partnership with Oman Academy for SMEs. And I believe that people will be able to register very shortly or now already. People will be able to register because we expect these to sell out very soon. So next topic today is a topic that is very close to my heart, and that is the topic of change management. What does it mean, change management? Change management means not only how do I sustain my company in times of crisis, but this is more about solving challenges and reaching goals, something that every organization needs. How do I solve my challenges and how do I reach my goals? The change management, we like to call ourselves, me and my company, management consultants, yes, but we're even more change agents. Because in the end, it's all about change. Change if you want to reach your objectives, change if you want to solve challenges. So I will talk a lot about our personal experience, and I will give client examples to illustrate to you how you can apply that to your own business. Obviously, I will not be able to give clients confidential information, as I'm sure you can understand, but I will provide practical examples from different organizations that I'm sure will help you in understanding the process better of how to solve challenges and achieve goals. When my company and I work with clients so that this is easier to understand, we work in basically all areas of organizations, whether it's expansion strategies, profit growth strategies, market leadership, restructuring for maximum growth profitability, marketing strategies, short-term planning, even 10-year long-term planning. And additionally, succession planning, sales strategies, HR training, executive leadership coaching, CEO coaching, innovation, collaboration and communication, business transformation, and one of our focus areas and passions, family businesses. Now, because we customize all our solutions to each organization, we know a lot about change management and how to deal with challenges because they're different in every company. Every company is unique. There is no one approach that fits all organizations. Now, when we do this, we usually do this through consulting projects, which can be short-term, mid-term, or long-term. I think I was mentioning yesterday about one of our clients that just published their recent results, and they had been in business for 20 years, worked with us for 1 year, and now had 66% higher profits, net profits, after about 6 months already. They actually made 55 million more net profits after working with us for a year in a change management program. So what do I want to talk about here today is change management. And we start with one area. So one area, could you give me the PDF, please? The PDF, please. One area that is challenges. And a lot of organizations do not understand how that works. Or maybe you can stay on this one for a minute and I will tell you when to bring the slide. If you want to reach, oh, that's fine, okay. If you want to reach any objectives, any goal that you set, you will encounter challenges. Now, you're not supposed to be able to read this. I will explain this in a few minutes, why I put this up. Any organization, the higher the goals, the higher the challenges. First of all, I would encourage you all to set very ambitious goals. Why are ambitious goals better than non-ambitious goals? Because ambitious goals drive people to give their best. They're exciting. So I am against setting what you may call too realistic goals. Now, don't get me wrong. We're here to make sure that you reach your goals. But a lot of times people say realistic when they mean rather like they put the goals a little lower. We have seen that optimum performance is only possible if you have very ambitious targets. And a lot of times people put their goals too low, not too high. So I would first encourage you to not only put together a very compelling mission and vision for your company, we discussed that yesterday, but together with a driving and passionate vision and mission, you should have very ambitious goals for your organization. And then you should communicate these goals to everybody in the organization. What you want is everybody of your teams to feel like an owner. You want everybody to feel like an owner so they have full accountability of the results. And in order to do that, you need to motivate people and get them excited to reach the objectives. So whatever your company or your organization, first of all, I encourage you to set ambitious goals that are exciting and get people passionate about reaching them. And then what will happen is when you're on the way to your goals, and that's normal, you will encounter challenges. As I said, usually the more ambitious the goals, the higher the challenges. That's part of the game. What happens then, though, is you need to analyze the challenges. Number one, do not tolerate problems. What I mean by this is don't tolerate anything that shouldn't be there. Don't tolerate bad performance. Don't tolerate problems. Means you have to face problems and solve them. Number one principle for challenges grow bigger with time. Challenges grow bigger with time if they're not solved. And what happens is you accumulate those challenges and they grow bigger. It's a little bit like you have stones in your pockets, and at some point the stones grow bigger and bigger, and then at some point you can barely move. But the danger is that will seem like normal for you because you're so used to these challenges. So this is why it's very important that you do not tolerate problems in your organization and you try to solve them as fast as possible. Only if you honestly face the problems and the challenges and solve them as fast as possible, you can create a feedback loop that will allow you to improve and reach your goals faster. When it comes to challenges, the next secret is that not all challenges are equal. There are what we call root challenges, root causes of challenges. And what I asked the tech team here to display is, this is an example of what we call a heat map of challenges. Now this has client relevant information in it, so we cannot make this bigger, but I will read some things to you and I will explain this. The first thing we do in such a scenario, this was a client, by the way, this was a food company. They're 50 years old and they wanted a complete transformation. It's a family business and they wanted to survive the next 30 years and be still a market leader. So they came to us and say, we are a market leader today. They actually reach over 100 million consumers across different Asian markets. Huge company in the food business. And they came to us and said, we're doing so well, but we're concerned because we fear we might lose our market leadership position if we do not change. And they were right. And so what we did, this was a program that ran for 6 to 9 months. We analyzed all the challenges in the organization. What happens is you will see when you do this that some challenges are related to each other. And this is what you see here. These are clusters. Let me see that I can show this here. So these are clusters of challenges. These are challenges that are related to each other. You have another cluster here, and another cluster here, and another cluster here. How do you get to these clusters? You have to understand that the root causes of challenges, they are like a planet, and you have smaller planets around that main planet. If you solve this one planet, all the other small planets will also disappear. That means if you solve the root cause of the challenges, the small challenges will disappear. This is why you have to find the root cause of the challenges. This is, however, easier said than done in most cases. And why is this? Because, number one, people become blind to their own organization. It's normal. We all have blind spots. And if you work every day in an organization, at some point, you do not see the full reality of your organization. It's normal. It's like that for everybody. It's a little bit when we discussed the strengths and the weaknesses before. You need the help of others to tell you sometimes what your strengths and your weaknesses are and give you feedback. The same thing in an organization. You become blind to some parts in the organization at some point because you're there every day. That's the first challenge. The second one is companies stop too early when they look for challenges. They see some challenges and then they think those are the real challenges and they stop. You have to dig deeper. You have to keep asking the word why. And you have to ask the word why until you get to a point where you can no longer ask the question because you found the root cause of the challenge, which means you have to dig. It's like an onion you have or an orange and you have to peel until you get to the inside. And so, in this example here, what's in the middle is the root cause of the challenge. A little bit like this is the planet in the middle and these are the small planets around it. However, when we got to our clients thought these things here on the outside were the challenges. But the real root cause of the challenge was here. So, the secret is you have to dig deep until you find the root cause of the challenge. The beauty of it is that once you find the root cause and you solve it, all the small challenges around it will disappear. That's the magic of it. That's why it's really worth the investment to take the time to get to these root causes. Because otherwise what happens? You treat the symptoms, but not the cause. So new symptoms will come. And you do not understand why you have similar challenges coming again and again, even though you spend so much time and money on solving the old challenges. And the reason is because you did not go to the root cause. This is why you have to go to the root cause of the challenges. So in a way, you have to think of yourself a little bit like a detective where you analyze the situation, you see the challenges, but you're not satisfied with just seeing the first picture that's there. You dig deeper and deeper and deeper until you find what is really the heart of the situation. For example, it could be that you think you have a problem with your innovation or your products and your services. But then maybe you will find out the real problem you have is in HR, it's in human resources. Or you think, our problem is we have not enough sales. Well, of course, not enough sales is always a symptom. It's never a root cause. It cannot be a root cause. It's impossible. So then some people think, well, our marketing is not good enough. But maybe it's not the marketing, maybe it's your products. And even if you had the best marketing in the world, you still would not sell much. So this is why it's so important to not be satisfied with the first answers. You have to dig. You have to dig until you find the root causes of the challenges. And then, beautiful, you have all the energy and power available to reach your objectives. If you do not solve the root causes here, and you just go on the outside challenges, you will spend a lot of time and money and energy, and not much will change. This is why companies and organizations, if they find themselves in a situation where they keep working on it and working, but it's just not getting any better, it's always a sign you're looking somewhere where you should not be looking. You have to look deeper. It's always a sign that you're changing symptoms and not the root causes. So, principle number 1, no challenges are equal. There are root cause challenges and symptom challenges. Your goal is to find the root cause challenges. Number 2, the way to do this is you have to dig deeper and deeper until you find the real root cause of the challenge. Number 3, a company is like a machine. If you change something here, it may change something there. It's all connected. Everything in an organization is connected. That's the next mistake a lot of companies make. They think in terms of departments. This is this department, and this is this, and this. That's good, but they're all connected. You change something here, it will change something there. Just because you do not see it directly does not mean it's not there. So you have to understand that a business and any organization is like a complex machine, and everything is connected to everything else. Changes you make here will influence all other elements. Then the next principle, as we discussed, is if you solve the root causes of the challenges, the smaller challenges will disappear. Just like the planet, if you solve the planet in the middle, all the other small planets around it will disappear. And then you have the full power of your organization available to reach your goals and your objectives. Now, you may ask, when does this ever stop? Never. However, you can solve the root causes of the challenges, and this will give you enough push and energy to reach your next big goal. But once you have reached your next big goal, whatever it may be for your organization, you will of course set new ambitious goals for your business, and then you will encounter new challenges. And then the process repeats. But it will be a process of enjoyment and fun because you're reaching your goals. And challenges are part of reaching your goals. Think of them like you're in a car and the challenges are the brakes. If you release the brakes, your car can go with full speed. Because what's the use of having a Ferrari or a McLaren if you constantly have your foot on the brakes? And that's what happens with a lot of great organizations that never solve the root causes of their challenges. It's like they're driving a big car but constantly have the foot on the brakes. That's why it's so important to solve the root causes of your challenges if you want to reach your goals. Now, after challenges, I now want to talk to you about goals and how to reach them. But we started with challenges because if you don't do this work, it's not very likely you're going to reach your goals. This is why this is fundamental. Now, when it comes to your goals, I already explained to you, and the research is very clear on this, and our experience is very clear on this. The more ambitious and powerful a goal, the more it will drive your business and all the people in it to give their best. Remember what we discussed on day one. People work more for a cause than for cash. People work more for a cause than for cash. Make your ambitious goals their cause. Your responsibility is to make your organization so that everybody feels like they're owners. They have a part in this. And they feel accountable every day they come to work. They take a part in this mission, in this journey that you're on with your company. This is why companies that have very ambitious goals and passionate visions and missions are able to attract the best people and keep the best people. And this is what you have to do in your organization. Now let's go to goals and goal setting and how to reach your goals. Once you have set your ambitious goals, by the way, how many of you know the movie Titanic? Titanic? Yes. Avatar? Avatar? Yes. Terminator? Arnold, I'll be back, right? Very good. So, all of these movies have one man in common. It's James Cameron. James Cameron is the one who wrote and directed all of these movies. Now, what you may not know is James Cameron was once, when he was, I think, around 30, he was broke, had no money, no success. And he had a dream where he dreamed about a machine coming back in time, and that was the Terminator. And then he sat down and wrote the script to the Terminator. Now, it still took him quite some time from that moment to where he is today, but he is, together with George Lucas, who started Star Wars, one of the richest men in Hollywood and one of the most successful. And he said something about goal setting, which I think is beautiful, and so I want to quote him because I could not say it any better. He said the following. James Cameron said, "If you set your goals ridiculously high and you fail, you will fail above everyone else's success." Let me repeat. If you set your goals ridiculously high and you fail, you will fail above everyone else's success. Which obviously means is you will be more successful than even your competitors if you fail at goals, if you set them really high and ambitious. If you have a clear vision and mission for your company, and you set courageous, not impossible goals, courageous and ambitious goals, you will be able to attract the top talent, get the best out of people, and keep the top talent. And as we saw on day one, top talent is the most important resource in your business because any organization is nothing other than a group of people. Now, what happens when you set your goal? The next thing is you have to make a plan. Of course, we all do that. Then what happens after this? Measuring, 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 measuring. A commercial plane, an airplane, is 95% off course. 95%. But the pilots constantly correct the course, and so they get to the final destination. What does that mean for you? It's a great example of what every business has to do. You have to constantly track if you're on course to reach your goals or off course. And you have to readjust your path. And most businesses do not track enough and do not track often enough. What does this mean? Most businesses do not measure enough. And there is this great principle, what gets measured gets done. So you have to measure. One of our other clients is one of the largest conglomerates in a certain industry. And one of the things that they're doing is they're also a very strong competitor of McDonald's in certain parts of the world. They're even better than McDonald's and the other fast food chains in some parts of the world. And they measure everything. They even measure how long it takes for them to flip the burgers. The banks we work with, we instituted a system that measure everything. How long it takes for them to disperse the loans. How long it takes for one department to respond to the other. All kinds of key performance indicators that allow us to track how fast they can deliver on their promises to themselves and to their clients. The results speak for themselves. You have to measure. And if you're in doubt how much to measure, it's better to measure more than too little, because what gets measured gets done. The second mistake most companies make is they don't measure often enough. I'm always surprised to find out if we come to companies and we ask, how often do you measure, how often do you track? Some companies, they invest so much time in making a great plan, and then they measure far too late if they're off course or on course. Now, imagine the plane takes off from Oman and goes to Dubai. Now, that's only 50 minutes, but imagine the pilot would never check in between if he's on course or off course. He would end up completely different. And then it would take him a lot more time to get back to the original track. So, the second mistake is companies do not measure often enough. This means you need to keep your measuring intervals very short. As short as possible, so you can always make the necessary course corrections on the way to your objectives and goals. So, let me tell you what will happen. You set ambitious goals, you make plans, you track, and you're on the way to your goals. Then what happens? You encounter challenges. It's normal. And new challenges. And then what you have to do, you have to diagnose these challenges and get to the root cause of the challenges, which is what we just discussed before. After that, you need to put a design in place to solve the challenges. You analyze them, you find the root causes, and then you put a system in place to solve the challenges. And after that, you have to push through to execution. Execution is king. And I've seen a lot of great companies that had great ideas but failed miserably in execution and lost all their chances for new products, new services, or improvements. You have to ruthlessly execute. And that execution has to be as fast as possible. You have to diagnose where in this process you fail. Do you fail in setting goals? Do you fail in making plans for these goals? Can you improve in finding root causes? Is that an area where you need improvement? Do you need an improvement in making sure you come up with the right plans, solutions to solve the root cause challenges? Or is your problem that you're not executing well enough? All those 5 steps are necessary to reach your goals. Setting goals, encountering challenges, analyzing the challenges to get at the root cause, designing a plan to solve the challenges, And 5, push through to execution. Let me give you another example of a client. Also big company, spanning over several countries, in business for many decades. And the owner, who is also the CEO, so it's a family business, and one of the family members, one of the sons, is the CEO. And let me tell you some of the challenges that they faced when we came in. Number 1, the CEO does not know about his strengths and his weaknesses. The CEO came from a marketing background. Typical marketing and advertising guy. Now, these are usually people that are highly creative. So he constantly has new ideas, right? Now that's good, but you cannot execute every new idea. But what happened there, nobody was there to tell him that he could not execute all of the ideas. So there was no check and control system in place to make sure that these ideas were properly analyzed. And this meant that whenever the CEO had an idea for a new product, they would do it. So in the end, they ended up with hundreds of products. It was over 300, where ideally they should have had only 50 products. They had over 300 products. And everybody was going crazy. Everybody was overstretched. Everybody. The factories were overstretched. Everybody in HR was overstretched. Everybody from the board down, everybody was suffering. So number 1 problem was the CEO did not understand his strengths and his weaknesses, as we discussed this morning. The next thing what happened is there was nobody there who analyzed the real root causes of the challenges. For instance, they would say, well, we need more people for marketing and for sales. But see, that was not the root cause. Of course, you could hire more people for sales, but the problem was the company was doing over 300 products and should have done only 50. They had to streamline their portfolio to analyze which are the biggest cash cow generators, the best products that bring in the most cash for them, and focus on these. But they didn't do that. So they thought their problem was they need more people in sales, more people in marketing, more people in distribution, when actually the root cause was somewhere completely different. It was in the CEO constantly trying to put out new products. And then we actually discovered that they had a guideline established a few years ago where they said we have to put out 5 new products per year. Now that obviously makes no sense, right? For instance, Coca-Cola. How many different versions of Coca-Cola do you know? What, like we have Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, and we had a green Coke, right? That's Coca-Cola, by the way, also one of our clients. But you have very few products. You don't need 100 Coca-Colas. It would go, people would not know what to pick. It would be crazy. And Coca-Cola is one of the largest companies in the world. Focus. So here, they did not understand what the real root cause was of the challenge. Now, you will be in a different business. I'm just giving this as a real-life example of what happens if you don't know your strengths and your weaknesses and you don't analyze the root causes. You lose so much of your energy and you lose so much of your profitability. So what this company had to do, they had to trim down their whole portfolio, had to focus on what they did best, they had to focus on their most profitable products and literally say no to everything else. And this turned the company completely around and set them on a new path to profitability. Now, you will be from a completely different organization, and your root causes and challenges will be different, and your goals will be different. But the principles behind this example are the same for everybody. Define your clear goals and then analyze the root causes of the challenges and make sure you're very open and don't have blind spots. I've had the pleasure to also work with the family of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett in the finance sector arguably one of the richest men on the planet. Warren Buffett had a very wise thing to say about open-mindedness and blind spots. He said, I'm not a genius, but I'm smart in spots. I'm not a genius, but I'm smart in spots. What is the principle behind that sentence? The principle is that we think we know and see everything, but we only see a small part of reality. And this is why it's important when we analyze root causes of challenges in a business, in an organization, we hear a lot of different voices. We get outside help, we get help from people who see things very differently from us, and in our management team, we surround ourselves with others who are very different from us. Now, naturally, we do not want to do that, because naturally, everybody wants to surround themselves with people who are very much like themselves. It's normal. My advice is, you can go out and have a coffee with somebody who is like you and enjoy your time. But for your business success, you have to surround yourself with people who are very different from you. Why? Because they will see things that you are not seeing. And the blind spots are your biggest enemy when it comes to your personal success and your business success. You have to make sure you see reality as clearly as possible. Otherwise, you will not see this, and otherwise, you will not be able to reach your objectives. So number one, set ambitious goals. Number two, on the way to these goals, you will encounter the challenges. You cannot tolerate challenges. They will grow bigger with time. They will stop you from reaching your goals. Number three, you analyze the root causes of these challenges. Number four, you design a solution for these challenges. And number five, you execute. You execute those plans. And then number six, you track and you measure all the time. You can never measure too much. Track and measure everything that is important to you. Any variable, any key performance indicator you can think of on the way to your success, you measure. And the more you do this, the more it will give you an accurate picture of reality. And before you know it, you and your organization will be on the road to achieving even your most ambitious goals. And boy, let me tell you, that is a lot of fun. And you will not only feel much more excitement yourself, but everybody else around you will share that excitement and passion. So you can truly get to a place where even the most ambitious goals become reality. Thank you very much. Please. We will actually take questions now. So you can ask, can we get a microphone? Or this one, does this one work? 1, 2. Can we get a microphone from the organizers that work, please? Just 1 second, I want you, there, over there we have them. Excellent.
Okay. If the root cause of one of the challenges is attitude of the staff, which we are trying to bring those changes and everything, attitude. Good. What will you do about it? How can you deal about it?
Well, obviously, I would need to know your organization more and the circumstances to give a better answer. So I will give a general answer. Attitude is basically a question about culture. Culture. Because if there's a problem with attitude, there's a problem with culture. Now, we're not talking about just one person having a bad attitude. You're talking about a general attitude problem, right? So, then there is a problem with culture. Usually, the solution to this is that the vision mission, direction, and goals of the company are not clear, or they're not clearly defined, or they're not ambitious enough, they're not clear enough, or they have to change. Why? Because you can only get the best out of people if they feel aligned with where you're going. But for a lot of organizations, they don't really define clearly enough where it is that they're going. And you cannot hit a target you don't know. And you cannot hit a target you don't see. So a lot of times problems in culture relate to problems in vision, mission, and direction of the company. There's also the possibility that the top management clearly knows where they want to go, but they do not communicate this clearly enough to the rest of the organization. So there is a disconnect between the top management and the rest of the organization. That also could be the cause for this. But obviously, it again depends on the organization and the individual circumstances.
Because we have so many mixed cultures.
Mixed cultures, okay.
We have Omani culture, we have Indian culture, we have other nationality culture.
Very good point. Very good point. He's raising the point of mixed cultures. Let me give you an example, and I will for a moment give you a language example. I'm talking to you in English today. Let me tell you as an example, let me say I would talk to you in German. If I were talking to you in German, already my whole manners would change. My posture, the way I would talk, I'd probably close this one, if I would talk to you in German. And then I would probably be talking a little bit like this. Also wenn wir uns jetzt nicht einig sind, dann müssen wir uns morgen früh sehen, aber dann um 8:30 Uhr, sonst funktioniert das nicht. Pünktlich 8:30 Uhr sind Sie da. That would be the German. So you can already see the whole mannerism. It's more like this, you know, a bit more rigid and structured, right? Now, if I was talking to you in French, now, I love France. I try to spend quite a bit of time there. But it's no secret that the French are not the most modest people on the planet. They hold their culture in very high regard. So this shows a little bit in their attitude when they talk. Ah, messieurs, mais merci, mais absolument. Mais vous pouvez prendre les moules à la volonté avec un peu de champagne. Oui, c'est possible, mais à la fin, après vous, c'est à vous à décider. You can see a little bit like already, like, you know, a certain level, I don't want to call it arrogance, because I hope we don't have any French people in the audience, but it's a certain touch of arrogance which translates into the language, right? Now, let's hop over to the country just next to France, Italy, for example. Now, Italians are much more, they talk at least as much with their body and their hands than they talk with their mouth, right? So Italians, if I was talking Italian today, I would probably like, ma dai, mangiamo una pizzeria adesso, ma ho fame, ma vieni, solamente 10 minuti, sto aspettando. Already you can see it's much more the hands than anything else, right? Now, I'm talking American English to you now, but if I would talk, you know, English, Oxford English, I'd probably a bit more like, Mortimer, absolutely. We'll see you afternoon team tomorrow, 5:30 at your place. Excellent, yes. Thank you very much, Mortimer. Looking forward to seeing you. Excellent, very. So it's a certain kind of colonial elegance, style, nobility, right? So you see you have different countries, and already the whole body and the manners change. It's not just the language that changes. So why do I bring these examples for your question? Because if you have different cultures coming together, most organizations do not make the effort to really understand each other and understand that we are different. We're different. And most of the time people think, oh, you know what? It's all the same organization. We're all the same. But we're not the same, right? Let me give an example of, there was a German manager who was working for Siemens, good old established German company. And he was going to Brazil. And he was in charge now of the branch of Siemens in Brazil. And then one of my MBA students, because I'm also a professor at some of the best business schools in the world, he was with him on the plane. He was working with him. And he tried to explain him, you know, if you come from Germany and you come to Brazil, it's a bit different. People are different there. It's not like Germany, you know. You cannot just push them and say something has to be done by tomorrow morning, 9:30. You have to take them out for beer, you know. You maybe have to go with them to a beach, drink a coconut, you know. Just kind of, you leadership is different. You lead because they like you, right? And the German guy said, no, 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 no. This is Siemens, and if it's Siemens in Brazil. It's the same like Siemens in Germany. He lasted for 3 months in Brazil. That was it. 3 months and he was gone because he did not take time to truly understand the culture and the differences. So, my very long answer to your short question is that usually in such situations, it's important to understand the cultural differences and build the right bridges between the cultures, even if it is the same company. And then obviously it depends on the organization, but usually we have to invest more time in understanding each other, understanding the differences, and then build common ground so everybody works towards that vision and those goals with their full force. Doesn't matter where they come from. Does that answer your question? Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, you had a question as well. Do we have a microphone for the gentleman?
Okay. You know, it's interesting you mentioned about the cultures, and but even in the sort of between two different people, they have got different views. Okay.
Very true.
So even if you are CEO and your vision is so, sometimes if you have a management team who don't believe in your goals, how would you actually convince them and make them sort of enthusiastic to work towards you?
Very good question. So, if you have a management team that doesn't believe in your goals, how would you convince them? Let me give you another example of one of our clients. Big company in Germany, about 110,000 employees. And the CEO, new CEO, and he then hired 3 top people from Silicon Valley. He hired 1 top guy from Google, 1 from Facebook, and 1 from Twitter. Now, this company is German, and the company is in a very small town in Germany. So you take Silicon Valley and a very small town in Germany, and you bring them together, and I promise you, this will create conflict. So what happened is, he brought these 3 people in to help them with innovation, creativity, breakthrough solutions, and so on. This was a publishing company. And so he introduced them to his board. All of the board were older German gentlemen. And the response from the board was, these guys are stupid. That was the response. Now, you know, Germans are very direct, right? So, you know, Germans say, these guys are stupid. Now, obviously, if you take top talent from the 3 of the most successful companies in Silicon Valley, they're not stupid. But there was no understanding here between the cultures. So the CEO should have taken more time to bring those 2 together. For instance, he should have first told them about the differences in the cultures. The Germans about the Silicon Valley culture, and the Silicon Valley's guys about Germany. And he would have had to build bridges there instead of just throwing everybody into the same room and seeing what comes out of it. Because what came out of it was chaos and conflict. So in this scenario, the CEO has to take time to really describe and explain the vision. And if you believe in your vision and you're passionate about it, this passion will spill over. It's like a rock star being on stage, giving a great concert. It's like there's a magic that spills over. Now, a business is not like, a rock star on stage, but it's similar because a vision you believe in and goals you're ambitious and passionate about, if you live that passion and you explain it to others, they will catch fire. And that's why it's so important to have clear visions for your company, a clear vision of what it is you want to accomplish, and clear goals, because they will drive the performance of others. But most companies spend too little time communicating. We all spend too little time communicating. And I give you another example of cultural differences. For example, a very simple example, bus stops in Germany. If you go to a bus stop in Germany, it will say the bus comes at 3:47. And believe it or not, the bus will come at 3:47. That's Germany. Now you go from Germany to the south of France, and you go to a bus stop in the south of France. It will not tell you the exact time. It will tell you the time in 20-minute approximations. So it will tell you the bus will come between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. So okay, the bus will come between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Germany, France. Now you go to Brazil, right? In Brazil, there are no times. You will see there is one post on the street, it says bus. And maybe for 3 hours, there is no bus coming. And maybe then there are 5 buses coming, and they're all full. And you have to wait for another hour. That's Brazil. So the cultures are so different. And people are so different. So in order to collaborate well, we have to spend more time in understanding each other. And the more we understand each other, the more we can play together like a rock band or like a basketball team, or where we just know each other's strengths and we all believe in the same goal and the same vision, but we understand each other. And most organizations do not spend enough time on communication. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Any other? These were excellent questions. Any other questions? Yes, please. Can we get a microphone to the back? Yes.
It's very interesting. Just wondering, what's the difference between the innovation and design thinking?
Can you describe what you understand design thinking?
Well, it's a bit last 2 days I was a bit confused in the process itself, or like in a company as a CEO, shall I have the innovation on one scale and the design thinking on a scale? How it goes together? How I can mix these two together?
How would you define for the audience design thinking?
My understanding to design thinking is like if you have an issue, it's like you do rethink about it, how to work it out. This is the basic understanding for the design thinking. It's like, let's say, if I have a car and there is a specific ceiling for that car or for the truck, that it's supposed to move and pass through this the path. Probably it's like flattening the tires, maybe one of the thinking in order to get the track pass.
So I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. I will try to respond, but I'm not sure I understand the full question.
Myself, it's like in the last 2 days, I was just thinking is the innovation and the design thinking, how I can work it in the company itself for the people.
Okay, well, in a way, these are two different things and still similar. So you have innovation. And innovation you have, without repeating everything I said yesterday, you have marginal innovation, which means making things a little bit better. We also discussed innovation can be anything. You can innovate not just products or services, but your supply chain, how you do things, your structure, everything. Innovation touches everything. Anything that makes anything in your company a bit better is in principle innovation. Then we have a 0 to 1 innovation, which is a revolutionary innovation. We should all strive to innovate all the time, but our goal should be this 0 to 1 innovation, to have a breakthrough and come up with an idea that is so good that we move away from the competition and we end up being in a world of our own. Design thinking, the way I understand this from you, I was asking because there are many different definitions for design thinking, and that's why I was asking your definition. If you encounter any kind of challenge, you have to apply a thinking that will lead you to design a solution for that challenge and around that challenge. This is not necessarily innovation. You may say it's part of innovation, but it's part on the way to reaching your goals and objectives. You will encounter challenges, and then you will need to apply the right designs so that these challenges are resolved. The proof, as we say, is always in the pudding, which means if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you need to go back, redo your design, and test it, stress test it, until you find the design that works for your company and your organization. The higher your level of innovation in the company, the faster you will be able to solve the challenges that we saw before. Because your general level of innovation in your teams and in your company will allow you to solve all the challenges faster. Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, over there. Can we get a microphone there, please?
Hello, Tom.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Excellent. What's your name?
My name is Rashid Hindasi. I am a business lecturer in International Maritime College, Oman. I would love to thank you for this glorious presentation.
Thank you.
It's very motivated, and I think I'm going to achieve all the goals that have been set together.
That is the right mindset. Yeah, you should. If you don't believe it, it's already a bad start.
No, it's amazing.
So that's good.
It's amazing. I got two things to ask, and the first one is, do you have some indications about how do I know that exercise you already said about the balance stuff? Can you give us like indications that we have to go through to discover what we have and what exercise that suits us in terms of finding the balance?
The balance.
Yes.
So how to best find your balance if you don't know what it is?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now here, you need to literally analyze yourself. You need to analyze your performance. You need to see what were the situations where I did really well. Okay? So you go to areas that are important for you, professional areas that are important to you, and you need to analyze, okay, where did I do really well? What did I do before that? What did I do to get me to that position where I did really well? And by the way, this is something that all athletes do. For example, I coached someone who, I showed you the free diving before, right? Now, I had the pleasure of coaching world record holders in free diving, not because I'm a better free diver, but just so that they improve their process. It's all about constant self-analysis and improvement of your performance. And this works for athletes, it works for businessmen, it works for anyone who wants to get a very high level of achievement in any area. It doesn't matter whether you're an author, it doesn't matter whether you're a businessman or a world-class athlete. It's always the same principles. The important thing is you have to ruthlessly keep analyzing yourself all the time. And then the analysis has to go into these checklists. And next time you encounter a similar situation, you again go through your checklist, you apply it, and then you compare the outcome with what you wanted to achieve. Did you achieve your objective? If you did not achieve your objective, you have to analyze why not. And what went wrong? Most people and most companies spend too little time analyzing and planning. And they spend way too much time doing. Most of the organizations are too busy doing and spend too little time in planning. That's a mistake. You have to take proper time to plan out how to reach your goals and objectives, and you have to spend enough time to solve your challenges. Otherwise, you just keep busy. And keeping busy is not the goal. Reaching your objectives is the goal.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
What was your second question?
The second one is like I found it might be normal for everybody. Like the perfection, the sense of perfection, I find it like is a kind of weakness for me.
Perfection.
So could you advise me to
Of course.
how to solve this?
Germans are masters at this because I was actually brought up to be a perfectionist. And it's not a good thing. And I think Salvador Dali or Picasso, one of the two, said, do not worry about perfection. You will never reach it. Do not worry about perfection. You will never reach it. Which basically means perfection is an obsession. It's a weakness, right? It's good to want to give your best. But perfection means you're looking for a state where everything is perfect. There's no more improvement. There are no mistakes. There is no change. It doesn't exist. If there is one constant in every business, it's change. It's change. And this goes for you, for me, and for any organization in this room. Change. That's why we call it change management. You have to manage change. Same way reaching your objectives. Some organizations think, oh, you know, we set these great goals and objectives, but then they don't want to change anything. How is that possible? How can you expect you fly from here to Dubai, but you're still sitting in Oman, nothing will change? It's impossible. Things have to change if you go from here to here. And most organizations are not embracing change. If you embrace your goals, you have to embrace change and go with change. So being a perfectionist, if that is a weakness, and I would say it is, you would have to have a support system that tells you that good enough is good enough. And if you need to go to excellence, then you need to determine before what are the areas where I need to go to excellence and what are the areas where good is good enough. It goes back to what I described yesterday, the billionaire focus tools. You have the must-to-dos and the like-to-dos. And in the must-to-dos, you have a good enough version and an excellent version. If you try to bring everything to excellent, let me tell you what happens. Some of the things that are must-dos on your plate will go to zero because it's impossible to get everything all the time to excellent, which means you will be excellent on some things, but on other things that you must do, you will have zero, and that's not acceptable. So apply that system, and it will work for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent questions. Any more questions from the audience? Yes, please. One more question here. Could we get a microphone to the gentleman over here?
Just a question that, what are the key success factors of your organization?
Of my organization?
Yeah.
Very good question. We take the time to analyze the root cause. We do everything that we just discussed, okay? That's the system we apply. Doesn't matter whether you're Coca-Cola, doesn't matter whether you're a medium-sized ownership company somewhere else, Asia, Middle East, Oman, Dubai, it doesn't matter. It's the same in every organization. That process and those steps and those principles always produce results. So we are very ruthless in applying that, and we're very honest. So we never accept any jobs when clients come to us and we see, well, you know, the CEO just wants to use us to write a report and say what he wants to say, and then we leave. We don't do that. We are always there to make sure there is success. Why? Because I explained this yesterday. We actually do not do any marketing. you will never find any marketing about our organization because we don't have to. Clients come to us. And success stories are our marketing. But this is very important for our clients. I tell you why. Because if success stories are our marketing, then we have the same interest that you become our next success as you. Because the success stories are our best marketing. So the more successes we create, the better we do as an organization. And this establishes trust with the CEOs and the owners and the management because they know we have the same motivation. We don't want to deliver reports, results. We're about results, not reports. And that's what's different about our organization.
So do you really work with SMEs, or because you are mentioning all these
No,
big companies?
I'm giving, so
Okay.
we are working with SMEs. I'm just giving some big companies as an example because everybody knows them. People know Coca-Cola, people know McDonald's, that's why I give that as an example. But of course we work with SMEs around the planet, and in some cases we even work with startups because we have a special startup program. Now, obviously, the places for that are limited because we cannot take on that much, and we receive more offers, usually, than we can accommodate. But we love SMEs. Why? Because SMEs, a lot of times, are more agile and flexible, and therefore, we can create great success stories with SMEs. And a lot of times you find SMEs move a lot faster and a lot easier towards their objectives once we have done the right things together than bigger companies. So there are fantastic successes. And that's why we actually love to support SMEs and bring them to their full potential.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, great.
Thank you. Excellent. Very good. Any other questions? Yes, please. Can we get a microphone to the lady over there?
Thank you. Thanks, Tom, for the presentations today. My question is, you mentioned that you constantly analyze.
Yes.
And what is the definition of constantly in terms of time interval? Is there an ideal time?
It just means basically could be anything. Literally anything. Could be a negotiation with somebody. And afterwards, I ask my team to criticize me. So the one part in me wants to hear it's all great, right? And let's say I did really well on the outside. It was a great result. I still ask my team what I could have done better. Now I need to put my ego aside, right? Because the ego just wants to hear people clap. I need to put that aside. And then I ask my team, how could I have done better? And it's great because I surround myself with people who have different views from me. Exactly what I told you before, because I saw that with great CEOs and great companies, and even small companies that have great growth and profitability, that's what they do. So I do the same, obviously, as I'm teaching to my clients. And so there's always something that, even if it's a small thing that I can improve. And I'm happy about that. And so I can improve and become better. Otherwise, I stay the same. And that's not what I want. So even if it's small improvements, but you have to put your ego aside and invite the feedback. And if it's good feedback, great, I can become better. Does that answer your question? Good, excellent, very good. Any other questions? And we have another question over there. Excellent. Can we get a mic to that gentleman over there?
It's working. Thanks, Tom. Really, we appreciate your conference, and we all benefited, and we are expecting tomorrow more.
Thank you. And I will be here tomorrow.
Yeah. Not in the dinner as well? Mm-hmm. My question is that how we, as a Middle East,
yes,
look our family business to grow with a corporate entities like other corporate section they are. Because the family business in here, they are really the block way. They are not expanding to the modern way. How we can going to improve it in this ones?
Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand the question. So
My question is that,
yes,
see in here the family business, all the Middle East, I'm talking in the Gulf, it's look like in the closed style, not in the open style, in
you
the
mean
modern.
traditional?
Yeah, the all CEOs and everybody is not like in the modern CEOs, and they're not getting the all, you know, the everything. They're not getting power and all. But how these CEOs can go to do the family business in here to show their performance in the family business in the Middle East?
Well, I think we have to. I understand. And when you're saying that the family business are sometimes too closed-minded, too traditional, maybe too...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, that's obviously also a generalization. Not all of them are like that, right? So, but then again, I think we also have to look at the advantages of a family business. And we work a lot with family businesses, small, medium, and large. So, the good thing about a family business is it's fast decision-making, right? It's quick decision-making, and that's very good. Because what did we discuss before? Very important is your execution. Execution is king. And if you have to hold 20 meetings with boards to reach a single decision, you already lost so much time. So one advantage of family business is quick decision-making. So I also want us to look at the advantages of family businesses, not just looking at potential disadvantages. The first advantage is quick decision-making. And we just discussed that is very, very important for the success of the company, for changes, for handling challenges, for everything. The second thing that is great about family business is, and an advantage, family businesses and owners are usually very passionate about what they do. They're very passionate about their business because it's their business. It's a family business. And that is, again, good because that passion can easily spread to the people in the organization. So these are some of the advantages of family business, which are also very important and can help the family business to grow.
Thanks, Tom.
Good. Thank you. Yes, please. We have a question here up front. Could we get a microphone?
Here, Mr. Tom.
Sorry?
Mr. Oliver here.
Yes? Okay. Where?
All over the back.
Sorry. Okay. Yes, excellent. Okay. Sorry, we had a question down up here. Can we already get a microphone to her as well?
Yes,
So she will be second.
Tom, I'm seeking your advice.
Yes.
If someone went through a heavy loss and fail.
Heavy loss.
And fail.
Failure. Okay.
Yeah. How can he go over and his fears?
Very good.
To stand
Very
and
good.
start again.
I will give you an example. A company we work.
The other question.
Okay.
Do I go to the same, knock the same door, or go to seek for another door? Thank you.
Those are two separate questions.
Yes.
Let's do a second. I'll do the first question. This is a question I think it's relevant for everybody. He basically asking, what if I just had a great failure? How do I get the motivation? Is that maybe to go? Is that?
Well,
after
how to start again?
How to start again. Now, why is this for everybody? Because let's face it, we all have our failures. I don't know anybody, even the most successful people I know, have had tons and tons of failures. The thing is, you don't hear about the failures. You just hear about the successes. Okay? So first of all, I want you to realize everybody has failures. Even if they don't talk about it, they do. So, the worst thing you can do is let that stop you. And I will give you an example of one of our clients. CEO of the company, and there was a problem he had. He had a problem to take fast decisions. Now, I have made the personal experience in working with many of the most famous CEOs. The best CEOs make fast decisions. The best CEOs make fast decisions. So this client of ours had a real challenge in making decisions. Why? Because he wanted to have all the details, 100%, before making any decision. As a CEO, that's impossible. It's impossible. You will sabotage your entire organization. You have to learn as a CEO what key information to focus on to make decisions. You cannot be blocked by fear to miss something and not make decisions. That's the worst thing you can do, because your whole company will suffer. Everything will become very slow. And that was his problem. And why was that his problem? Same problem you were describing, because he focused too much on a mistake he had done in the past. And he was so afraid to make the mistake again that now he was over-analyzing. Over-analysis leads to paralysis. Over-analysis leads to paralysis. You freeze. And that's the worst thing you can do as a leader or a CEO in any organization. So, I would recommend you to do two things. Number one, I want you to take 5 minutes a day, any time of the day. You close your eyes and you remember some of your biggest successes. Large or small, can be small successes as well. 5 minutes. All of us have failures, but all of us have successes. I want you to focus on your successes, not on your failures. 5 minutes a day, you take the time and you remember your successes. I know CEOs who even keep a list of those successes in a notebook or on their phone, and they review those successes regularly every day. Just 5 minutes. You will see over time, this will build up your confidence, and you will remember also what you did to bring those successes about, how you created those successes. And this feeling of success, you can then carry over to areas where you still have difficulty. The first thing I want you to do is that. 5 minutes a day. All of us can apply that. Very simple. And don't think of success as always like the big things, the things that like the biggest. No. Big successes are built on the shoulders of smaller successes. No successful person you read about or hear about started out to be successful. Every one of them started small, and one success built on the next success. That is what we all have to do. So when you do that exercise for 5 minutes a day, it will rebuild your sense of success and accomplishment. And this will, 100% guaranteed, build new successes in your life. Second, and that is very important, you need to force yourself to act. You cannot freeze. Give yourself a push. I can compare this to when I was in Germany. In German high school, you have to learn how to swim. Swimming is part of your high school education. If you cannot swim in Germany, you cannot pass high school. I don't know why. It's the way it is. We don't even have so much water in Germany. It makes no sense. But that's the way it is. And one of the things you have to do in Germany when you try to pass your swimming test, you have to go on a large platform which is 5 meters high. And you have to jump down first from 3 meters and then from 5 meters into the water. Everybody has to, at least when I was young, we had to do that. Let me tell you what happens. Everybody goes up, and you're there, and of course you're afraid. I mean, you look down, it's 5 meters, you think you can hurt yourself, whatever. What is the worst thing you can do? What is the worst thing you can do? Look down and stand there for minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes. You will freeze. You will never jump. Impossible. You stand there, look at it, and you'll be so focused on your fear, you will not jump. Until then, some of the other classmates have to give you a push and you jump, right? Which you have to force yourself to jump. And it's the same case. You have to force yourself to get back into the water and jump and act. If you overanalyze, you freeze, you're paralyzed, you're not acting. So number one, you do the 5-minute exercise per day of remembering your successes. And the second thing is, you have to force yourself to act, even if you are afraid. And trust me, some of the most successful people I know, it's not they don't have fear. That's an illusion. They all have fear, but they act in spite of their fear. And that's what we have to train ourselves, to act even if we are afraid. And then you can truly push yourself to accomplish even your most ambitious goals. Thank you. Good. Excellent questions. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Oh, yes, please. Please.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if the microphone is working. Can we get a microphone to her that's working? Okay. Can you check that, please? Thank you. Okay, maybe you come a bit closer to the...
Thank you very much for everything today and yesterday.
Thank you.
We got on a list of the offers that you, services that you provide to organizations.
Correct.
And you are dealing with small and medium and large companies.
Correct.
My question is, do you have a flat rate for all the services, or you consider...
A flat rate for the services? Okay.
Or you have also a special rate for small and medium organization that they would like to deal with you?
Yes. So I'll give you the clear answers to this. So number one, we do have what we call a small business booster program, which is a specific program we do for small businesses. So we have specific programs for small, for medium, and for large businesses. That's the short answer, yes. Flat rate doesn't exist because every organization is different. The problems and goals that you have, the challenges and the goals that you have are completely different from another company in the room. Even if you are from the same industry, your goals and your challenges will be completely different from someone over there. So for this, it's important that we talk to each other and we find out about what it is that you need. And then we put a specific plan together for you, a solution for you, just for you, because we never do anything twice, because every organization is unique. The solutions have to be unique in order for them to work. And because we are all about results and successes, it has to be always customized and created for the organization. Only then you can be sure that you will have great results. So you're free to talk to me, and we can arrange something afterwards, and then my assistant will schedule a time, and then I'll be happy to sit down with you if I have time on my schedule. No problem. Thank you. Excellent. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, one more question here. Excellent.
Assalamu alaikum.
Very good questions, by the way.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Tom, for coming to Oman.
Thank you.
You've been inspiring us for the last 2 days.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what is it exactly, but maybe it's the golden shoes.
I think it's the golden shoes. I think, look at it. It must be the golden shoes. Must be the golden shoes. Someone asked me yesterday if I could wear green shoes. I think it was you. But it's just golden shoes. It's the way it is.
Thank you. Going back to the management of change, from my personal experience, there's something which I always get tough time to solve, is that once you put all the processes. I like when you said the planets.
Yes.
And when you go to the root cause.
Yes.
And imagine if you have a list of management of change you want to do.
Yes.
I always get this tough time when how to prioritize those management of change, because sometimes if you don't prioritize right,
correct,
you conflict
correct,
and create another planet out of it. Yeah.
Very true. So if I may rephrase your question for the audience. So the question is, if we have a list of challenges, right? Is that the question? List of challenges that we need to solve. How do we prioritize? Is that correct? That's the question? Good. So here, the answer is simple. You start with the biggest challenge, the one that has the biggest impact. Think of it a little bit like dominoes. You know, this domino thing, one falling after the other. You have to focus on solving the biggest challenge because it will create a ripple effect. It will create an effect, and everything else after this will become easier. So you have to analyze, which challenge do I have to solve so everything else will become easier afterwards? Focus on one first, because you're right, if you try to do everything at the same time, probably nothing will get done. So you have to ruthlessly prioritize, and you have to see, analyze which challenge is the one that I need to solve first, so everything else after this will be easier. I also told you yesterday that most organizations try to do too much at the same time. The organizations who have a clear focus get most done, because they focus on one thing, they solve it, and they focus on the next thing and give their full attention. That is what I've seen over and over again. And that's what we do with our clients. If you already solve the biggest challenge, everything after that already will be a lot easier. And then you can go to the other challenges. That is my recommendation. But don't try to solve everything at the same time. That will not work. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Very good. We had another question. Oh, another question over there at the table. Yes, please.
Maybe it's not a question. It's just a recommendation. We request from the authority of IADA and the authority of SMEs, academic, and the guys who are interested in developing the SMEs in Oman, to have some sort of programs with you. I'm sure everybody interested to support the SMEs, and there is a lot of SMEs, maybe they're having some difficulties.
Yes.
So that a program between you and them, sponsored by them, to help these SMEs in the future,
Yes.
and select the SMEs that they need the more support and the more help, and that will help the SMEs and the country as a whole.
Absolutely.
And we will take this opportunity. We want to take this opportunity to ask for that through the guys who are in charge of the supporting SMEs.
Through the Oman Academy?
Yes.
Okay. So to put together a specific program,
yes,
that we put together a specific program for the SMEs and the selected SMEs.
Selected SMEs that in order to improve the situations and the economic situation of the country, plus also the performance of the SMEs in Oman, you know, and that will help. I know that will help the whole people in this.
Excellent, excellent. I think I would have to pass the question.
Yes.
Question to the Oman Academy of SMEs and Sheikh Salah, right? So we would be happy to support the Oman Academy with a program like this. What would be the next step? We could probably see that we have a sit down together, and see that we can come up with a plan for this. Right?
This is Faisal Shamfari from SOSCO. I have a question about the business diversification.
Yes.
And specifically about organic growth versus non-organic growth.
Organic growth versus non-organic growth. Okay.
And what are the metrics that help choosing one over another? Probably in economic crisis, we need to know which one is better so that we optimize the resources we have.
Correct. Everybody needs to optimize resources. But the answer to that question is very much depending upon your organization. There is no one answer that fits all the organizations. It's impossible. So if I were to tell you something now, as a rule you can apply, I would be lying because it doesn't exist. So how to choose between organic, non-organic growth, and especially in times of tight resources, always depends on your unique situation of your organization. But I'll be happy to continue that conversation and talk about that.
Thanks.
Absolutely. It's a very, very good question. And for this other gentleman, I'll give this back to Sheikh Salah and Oman Academy. So there we will have to see how we can put something together to support. Okay? Excellent. Good.
شكرا. We as Oman SME in Oman Academy, we do have more than one program actually. And we have nurturing, we have legitimization, we have training. So there is a lot of programs which we have. So if you want to know exactly what we can provide for SMEs, I think it's better to enter our website. There is a list and there is contact and everything. But there is no harm, I think, if we can work together to design a program which will be fit for SMEs. I think it's a good idea. We will sit together maybe
a
tomorrow.
special SME booster program for selected SMEs. I think that would be excellent. And we would be open to that. I will discuss it with my management team as well. But I really want to support the Oman economy and the great potential I see in the room. I said this again and again, also on radio yesterday and on TV. I see so much potential here. And it will be our pleasure to support as much as we can, given the time that we have, to support the economy and the SMEs here. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Very good. Excellent questions. Do we have any more questions? Excellent. I think we probably have to break for lunch, right? So we have to break for lunch. However, I promised you that I would share with you the answer to the question this morning, where I told you that I would share with you what self-made billionaire entrepreneurs like Richard Branson or world-famous CEOs have that we do not have. Now, let me tell you the answer. What do these people have that we do not have? The answer is nothing. They are just as we are normal human beings. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they have their goals, and they have their visions. But they apply the principles that we talked about today. They focus on strengths, not on weaknesses. They define clear visions, and they let nothing get in the way of their visions. And this is very important because we are all brought up to think that weaknesses keep us from reaching our goals. This is not true. Your strengths will take you to your goals, and you have to find the right people who can help you and support you in areas where you are weak. But you should never, ever give up on your goals and your visions. All those famous business leaders have a clear vision, and they're obsessed with that vision until they realize it, and they let nothing stop them. But do they have a secret ingredient, a secret characteristic, a secret talent we don't have? No, they do not. None of them do. But they have mastered these principles we talked about today. And those principles allow them to see the world differently. And because they see the world differently, they're able to create extraordinary success. So I encourage you to never give up on your dreams and your visions. Set yourselves ambitious goals for yourselves and your organizations, and apply the principles we talked about today. And you too will be able to create outstanding success in whatever area. Thank you very much. Excellent. And before we break, I would actually like to, just like we did yesterday, do a quick selfie applause video where I would like you all to give yourself a great round of applause for a great second day and the great contributions and the work that we did together. So let's see that we can make this so loud that even the people in Dubai can still hear us, all right? So let's see. 1, 2, 3, all right. Fantastic. Very, very good. And also there was a great TV feature yesterday which came out on Oman TV, which was excellent about the forum. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure the organizers can send it to you. It was fantastic. Newspaper articles and so on. So all of this is, the organizers will be happy to share with you. Thank you very much. It was a very productive day and I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you.